Alright, YouTube, we are reading the last SCP of today's stream. It's been a journey. Stressful. Not because of the reading, but because of me trying to juggle mental game with YouTube in the background. Ugh. I understand copyright. I fully get it because I've working in the film industry and learning of the film industry. You understand why copyright is a thing. You understand why it has to be a thing. But I feel like there are certain rules that should be a bit more flexible, especially when it comes to like YouTube videos in general. Like, because at the end, most people will know that whatever thing that you upload, if it's a copyright material, that most people will know. Oh, that's definitely not his or hers. You know, it's not theirs. That's from. Especially when it's a reaction video, then it should just be like, oh yeah, it's obvious, it's not theirs, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's weird, but oh well. We're reading the last one. I hope you guys enjoy this. Like, comment, and subscribe if you do, because we're now reading religious broadcasting. The last Euclid. But these 10s are definitely a lot more safe than Euclid. The signal which SCP-1419 is broadcast upon is, and this is the second one that has to do with broadcasting or radio. So we had a couple like similar ones in this reading. Upon is continually jammed by the Foundation. Broadcasts of SCP-1419 are to be recorded by Foundation personnel upon transmission. All recorded broadcasts of SCP-1419 are located in the media storage vault of Site 12 and may be accessed by Level 3 or above researchers as well as Level 2 researchers assigned to catalog the records. Current efforts to discover any privately owned copies of SCP-1419 are headed by Dr. Lemons and Agent Dan Brooks. Any individuals found to possess a recording of SCP-1419 is to be given a Class A amnestic after questioning by Foundation personnel. To date, over 26 private copies of SCP-1419 have been discovered and taken into Foundation custody. It is unknown how the owners managed to locate or record the broadcast. Description: 1419 is a television signal. In a majority of cases, 85% the signal will display static. However, the static will occasionally be replaced with religious programming, including sermons, religious rites and funerals. While several of the religions shown appears to be similar to current or ancient faiths, see addendum 4, a majority bear little or no resemblance to any known theology. Records indicate the signal is owned by a corporation named Learning with God. In multiple interviews with employees of the station which originally owned the signal, it was discovered that the only contact between the original owners and Learning with God was through emails. The papers regarding the signal's ownership were faxed to a non-existent number and were sent back signed by a Mr. Disco Day. The following morning, when questioned about contacting the federal government during the transaction, the original owner stated that the idea never came to mind. I will read this. Okay. It is unknown how the transfer occurred, as typical broadcast license transfer require governmental approval. Possible mind-affecting qualities of SCP-1419 are being investigated. And here we have the broadcast record log, which we have a couple of things to read. So in 1964, a 16 presentation of a sermon delivered by a man of Polynesian descent. The man speaks about the sin of guidance, encouraging parents to allow the children to act on their own in life. The man cites an apparently holy book multiple times, though he does not directly name the book. The camera occasionally cuts to an audience members, a majority of whom are dressed in a formal fashion, also of Polynesian descent, though there are several who are of Australian Aboriginal descent. First recorded broadcast on SCP-1419. 1967, 3rd, 25th. The broadcast opens in a large wide room. They relax any notable features or furniture decoration. Over the course of 1 hour, 5 men enter the room at 12-minute intervals each. While in the room, the men bend the knee and face away from the camera. Each man places a small statue of a killer whale. Orcinus orca then leaves. No additional information. 1978 7th 1st. There is no visual component to the signal which displays a black screen. A female voice can be heard speaking. The audio is extremely quiet and occasionally becomes silent. The language used bears similarities to the Hessian dialect of Middle High German, though due to major differences only a portion has been translated by the Foundation. Several phrases in the broadcast are very similar or identical to the lines from Chaucer Canterbury Tales. 1981 12 25th. The camera is placed in the back of the crowded church, identified by Foundation architect as San Geronimo El Real, St. Jerome Royal Church in Madrid. The church architecture possesses notable alteration, including several side rooms not present in the actual cathedral. The first section of the program is a Christmas Day sermon by a Native American man identified as Father Pachakutek by a large banner inside the church. The priest's sermons describes the birth of Jesus Christ in a notably different manner than traditional Christianity, involving the death of Mary and Joseph, as well as the ritual slaughter of several animals. See document 34, transcript of Christmas 1981 broadcast, with full speech. The speaker then leads the crowd outside to a stadium. The signal ended at this point, returning to static. Please refer to document 34 for further information. That must be so weird to like see a world, like a television broadcast of like this religious event and the telling stories of Jesus, and then it's like way different than what you're used to. I mean, it can still happen now. Like somebody could just on purpose create. I mean, I guess this is an SCP I could consider like could be possible nowadays. Like somebody could just get a whole crew together and just pretend this way, but of course it has enormous effects as well, so it's not possible. 1982 5th 6th. The setting is a standard Roman Catholic church in a state of extreme disrepair. There are multiple frames for stained glass windows, many of which are broken or missing. Several pews are overturned and the building appears to suffer from fire damage. The only individual inside is a young woman dressed in a robe similar to those worn by Dominican monks. The woman is praying in front of the altar. There's a large cross on the altar with two more axes aided diagonally, resulting in a shape resembling an asterisk. The camera zooms in on the woman's hands, which are moving along a Mobius strip in a similar manner to rosary beads. No further information. 1982 12 25th Christmas. In continuation of the broadcast from the same date in the previous year, the stadium is filled with several thousand people, many of whom are visibly intoxicated. The center of the arena is occupied by a large stone and a man tied to it. The man is armed with an airsoft gun and proceeds to fight several other men dressed in robes and holding machetes. The broadcast ends when the sacrifice victim is killed. Ugh. The ceremony presented is very similar to that performed by the Aztec in honor of the Xipetotec, Aztec god of agriculture, as known as the flayed god. See Addendum 1 for further information. 1991 9/28. A group of African men are gathered around a large fire. Above the fire is a rotating pole which has impaled a large bird. The bird is similar in appearance to a harpy eagle. Harpia harpicia is estimated at 4 meters in length. The men proceed to carve and eat the bird before performing a traditional Islamic salah. Daily form of prayer directed towards Mecca. No additional information. 1994 2nd 18th. A large crowd is gathered on the beach, led by a woman wearing a plague doctor mask as well as a suit and tie. During the outbreak of the bubonic plague in the 14th century, many doctors wore masks resembling bird beaks. The beak held strong herbs used to prevent miasma, bad air, and indicated the doctor's profession. She sits in a plastic chair and begins to read from a large leather-bound book. The woman's voice is clear despite the mask on her face. The language used throughout the monologue bears similarities to both Arabic and French, though the transcript has yet to be translated. Refer to document 57 for full available record. After reading, the woman leads the crowd into the ocean, which appears to be a shade of orange. Last broadcast before a dark period of over a decade where the static was constant. Refer to Addendum 2 for further information. 2011, 6/14th, a group of children are in a trench which extends of camera in the distance. There are several stars of David carved into the trench. After 45 minutes, a man climbs down from above the trench and begins to read from a noticeably aged paper scroll. The scroll is visible in the camera and written in Hebrew. Foundation translators have determined a portion of the scroll is a copy of Micah 3:1-4. I don't know how to say those things. We should announce the leaders of Israel for cannibalism and the prophets for corruption. Most recent broadcast. See Addendum 3 for further information. And now we have the last couple of addendums. Addendum 1 on February 7th. That's my birthday, 1983. Not my birth year though. Foundation operatives in Oaxaca, Mexico receives reports of a police raid on a cult suspected of human sacrifice. Said cult was routinely offering gifts to the additional Mesoamerican gods and recently held a festival in honor of the god Shibetodic. During the festival, a tourist was kidnapped and forced to engage in a mock battle with cult members. The tourist survived and was freed by the group. The former captive then went to the authorities leading to the raid. The incident, due to its odd nature, was initially brought to the Foundation attention. Recent reviews of SCP-14191 had led researchers to suspect a connection between the December 25th broadcast of 1982 and the cold incident. Further investigation is currently underway. Yeah, they probably saw that and were like, "Oh, we're doing things wrong." Addendum 2. Shortly after the February 18th, 1994 broadcast was aired, 10 p.m., Foundation contacts at medical centers across the West Coast began receiving a large number of patients who attempted suicide by drowning. The total number of individuals who attempted suicide was 756, 82 of whom succeeded. God damn. So that's what I'm saying. This is why I was like, oh yeah, this part of like broadcasting it is not anomalous, but the fact that people then start to like, this is real, this is how we're supposed to do it, that's the anomalous effect. So that's what I'm saying, like, this SCP it's not possible in our world. At first it was, like, with, like, if it's just a broadcast, that could have just been faked. Because, like, I'm very critical when SCPs are not fully SCPs, but, like, the, like, things that could, you know, potentially exist in our world, in given time. I mean, of course, there are some SCPs like robots here that could happen in our world as well. But I'm talking about like certain like viruses or things like, oh, like yeah, grows mushrooms inside the house. You're like, that could happen in real life too. You know, maybe one day one of those mushrooms just becomes highly resilient to damage and the spores are poisonous, and then it just grows inside your house, no matter how well you take care of the building, you know what I mean? Like, that could happen. But then, I'm not saying it will, I'm just saying it could. So those are like SCPs where I'm a bit more critical too. I'm not gonna bash on them, but I'm just saying, like, so with this, I was like, well, if it's just a broadcast pod, that's not an SCP, that's just people. That could be easily duplicated. Just, you know, get a set, get a crew, pretend. But yeah, but since people are actually, you know, following the broadcast and are like, oh no, yeah, this is exactly how it's supposed to do it, which is not, it's not like, you know, people questioning your beliefs and then showing you how it's done, and then people are like, oh, maybe I was wrong. No, it's legitimately the whole time they're doing it their way, and then suddenly this broadcast shows up and then it erases all of the things they know completely. Then they have to like, oh, I have to do this way. I never knew. Addendum 3. Several Foundation researchers and agents noted that on June 18th and 19th, 2011, a large number of synagogues and churches in New York City were focusing on the Book of Micah, specifically the section shown in the most recent broadcast. When questioned, the priests and rabbis failed to provide a reason for the choice, stating that they felt it was appropriate. All interviewed subjects were given Class C amnestic, and the incident is under investigation. That's what I mean. Like, they completely forget everything that makes sense in their culture and religion, right? They just completely ignore that and think that whatever the broadcast showed you makes more sense or should be followed more. And then 4, Foundation researchers have noticed a similarities between the religion shown in SCP-141-9 broadcast and modern Roman Catholicism, as well as Mesoamerican faiths, early forms of Japanese Shintoism, and Khoisan mythology. Yeah, it seems like there seems to be like mixtures of multiple things happening. A group of indigenous people from southern Africa, often referred to as Bushmen. Ah, I see. Okay, and we're done. All right. Let me just. Yeah, I think I'll put this here. All right, here we go. I'm a sucker for the Swiss Army banana. I mean, the Swiss Army knife is part of my childhood, especially since I grew up in Switzerland. So it is part of my childhood, and seeing a banana being able to just transform into certain things as long as you put like a chip in it, it's kind of cool. I like that. I wish that was real. Sports Ball needs to be an animated show. Sports Ball needs to be an animated show. Or just like, even just like a Love, Death and Robots shorts, like something like that. Would be a lot of fun to watch that. Transmigratory Teapot. I really resonate with what the last doctor said, like, hey, you don't know who you are. With this thing around you have no idea if you are you or if you're somebody else thinking you yourself, and so on and so forth. You might have been the person who got terminated, and you're not even you won't even know. It is very true. Flesh Gauntlet. Yeah, you becoming you taking over traits of whatever the other gauntlet, whoever's wearing the other gauntlet, is pretty wild. I think again, this is one of those moments where the Foundation could have just done one test and just be like, we're done. Like, for example, with the car, right? They could have done the one test, like, oh, that's what happens if you put it on a human and on a car, and you see that it still does the thing. You're like, yeah, we don't need to do anything anymore. But then they decide to also do a bed. I'm like, it's gonna happen the same thing, my man. That test was not necessary. The cow and blender though, that's hilarious. that's a hilarious little test. It's just a cow mouth like chewing whatever you throw into it. The Dorager comp, as you can see, I put most of the SCPs are similar, which had to do with like you becoming another person next to each other, because I mean at the end they all were pretty good. I do like the fact that the person that originally had the SCP, who everybody transforms into, seemed to be like a planted person by Marshall Collin Doc, which just shows like they definitely had like some sort of plan for either whoever found the person or whoever found the comp. They definitely were like, we're gonna mess with them, and this will not have any at the end. No matter how deep they look into it, they will not find anything about us with that person. It's kind of mean, because that person died at the end. So passive aggressive radio. Still think it's a possessive radio, because it's like you only get allowed to listen to me. But yeah, also the fact that it just destroys your hearing, but not in a painful way. You just feel like everything else gets quiet, and after a while you just don't hear anything anymore. And it looks like it's permanent, so it's pretty messed up. Religious broadcasting. I think actually, you know what, guys? You know what? I'm gonna put. Come on, let me just do this real quick. Religious broadcasting. There. I'm putting it on the same level as passive aggressive radio from the enjoyment level. I think they're both on a good equal level. And also it's kind of like they have similarities as well. One is a radio, one is a TV, and they both kind of like manipulate your mind and body in some way. But yeah, no, I think they're both on the same level. Threading Stone, that's the first one we read today, and I still think that's a fun one to start with, you know, especially because like the different effects it has depending on the color, which makes it's a lot easier to like realize what it's doing. Yeah, no, it's great. Two Dead Sisters, yeah, the trees. They be moving. Three Beards looking for them. It's probably his daughters. Just walking around, eating, going over places. You know what I mean? Like it's doing all that stuff. Mirror, mirror. Again, I kind of blanked out on that one, so I'm sorry. I will definitely, while editing this, I probably will look at it over again and then understand it. Because whenever I have to do the thumbnails, I always have to like double check. If I don't understand a certain SCP, I always have to double check what they mean again. I still add like the little confused Dr. AfroFluff chibi, because that's because I was not I don't either A, don't remember, or B, have no idea what the SCP was really about, or like I didn't understand the SCP, so that it's only fair to use the confused little chibi. Even though afterwards when I upload it, by then I do understand it. You know, it happens. But you know what's happening now? The end. I enjoyed today's reading, even though I was kind of distracted for a lot of it. But that's not going to happen tomorrow, I promise. Tomorrow we're going to read the 1420s. We are making progress, and we are having a good time. But for now, I'm going to log out, and I'm going to have to re-export that video. God damn it. Alright guys, I wish you all good morning, afternoon, evening. See you all tomorrow for the next 10 SCPs, and the Afro is with you.